my river is like my social media. It's flowing. I'm always posting. So like the river is always flowing. Every time I meet someone, I strap them with a life jacket and I toss it in the river. So now they just join the river, and then they're all just flowing along the river with my content. They're just always going to be being seeing my face top of mind.
Today, we're going to be speaking with Matt Campoli. He is a real estate agent, runs a team of 2 other agents. He is a master when it comes to the marketing side of it. He has 25,000 followers on Instagram. He generates about 140,000 organic weekly views on his listings through his personal brand. He does about 29 million in sales volume each and every year, and he works as a team under the agency and works the Toronto market. Matt, welcome to the call.
Thanks so much, Mark. Thanks so much.
Yeah, Matt. So listen, we've talked in the past, and we've talked a lot about marketing, and I've seen you, and with your different branding, and you're the host of the Price to Sell podcast, and you've flipped over now to field trips, which is we're going to get into, but maybe you could share a little bit about your backstory as what actually got you into real estate, and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah. So my story, it kind of happened like for me, I guess we could say. There was never the intention to become a real estate agent or get into the space at all. I didn't even know the job existed or the career existed. I was in university, um, just studying history. So I was actually my intention was to get into teaching. And at the same time, while I was in university, I have a lot of family in the hair business, so hairstyling, barbering, etc. My mom actually taught hairstyling in high school, and so a lot of my friends who didn't want to go and pay for haircuts just came to me and said, "Matt, we know your mom has the equipment. You have cool hair. Can you shave our heads? Can you do this and that?" I was like, you know what? Sure. I always had a knack for it. So I was like, all right, let me cut your hair. So we were 19 at the time. And so I was giving my guys these mediocre fades. And we were starting to go out, 19-year-olds hitting the bars, nightclubs, venturing out into the world. And our other groups of friends would see my friends with these haircuts and be like, hey, like, who did that for you? It's not bad. Like, oh, Matt cut our hair. And then that led into, Matt, can you cut ours? And I was like, I guess I can. And I just became a barber. So I became a barber in university. And the barbering woke up the entrepreneur inside me, which was super dormant. Didn't even know he existed. And built a barbering business of over 200 clients. And I made the decision while doing the 7 years of that. And then obviously while in university, that I didn't want to work for anyone again. Um, I decided, okay, now I'm in this business where I control everything. I, make the rules. I set the timing. Do I really want to go into a career of teaching? So I started to think a little bit, broader for myself in regards to what I believe I can do as a human. And then I was at a crossroads again. It's like, okay, cool. Now I have a history degree. I'm barbering. I don't see myself barbering forever. What else can I do to leverage this network I've built of barber clients? Right? It was just growing. People were clearly trusting me. The feedback I got from them was they just wanted to be around me because they just, I was funny, made them laugh. They really enjoyed their time with me, and they trusted me. And at the same time, while I was in this crossroads of what to do next, my mother purchased the house she lives in now. So she and I were always renting. We grew up renting, hopping around different locations all the time, basement apartments, houses. And she finally purchased this house, and I went with her to the showing. And I saw the realtor pull up in his Mustang in the driveway and do his job. And first question with myself was, this is a job. Okay, so he just sold this house to my mother. What did he make? So then I started to research, okay, commission-based, career, did the math on, what he could have potentially made as a buyer's agent. I was like, damn, okay, if I sell like a couple houses a year, I might be okay. Like that classic, like, I can sell like 3 houses and like be okay. So I was like, you know what? I started to do more research. I'm like, I have no idea what this business is. I didn't know what interest rates were. I had no business background educationally, more so just like, school of hard knocks. from the barbering, and I was like, let me get my license. I got my degree now. I'm just gonna get my license, and I'm all in on this real estate thing. So that was it. That's how I fell into it. And yeah, 9 years in now, and it's been the best thing I did. So
Amazing. It's interesting. You had said you don't have any business background, but I mean, building up a book of 200 clients, that is such a good, we'll say, starting point of, we'll say, the key traits in order to be successful as a real estate agent: building trust, relationships. And isn't it interesting it's so interesting when you start to do the math looking from the outside in, you realize that after you get in, like, oh, you know what that commission actually is, you gotta pay the broker, you got expenses, and you got taxes after that. And you realize, oh, doing 3 sales, I can't just pick up and go down south for the rest of the year once you get your 3 sales in, as many people think when they get into it. So it's interesting, but it was enough to be able to say, okay, yeah, that's a vision that I want. When you saw that real estate agent pull up in their Mustang.
exactly, and I aligned myself with a mentor right away, and yeah, soon realized all the splits and the cuts and what you truly net. But the I was able to sell to my hair clients, which was awesome.
Yeah, and this is, I think, such a good example for, we'll say, new agents that are thinking about getting into the business. For myself, I was a hockey player, so you take the key traits that you take, before getting into real estate, and you apply them. For me, it was like I was always going full out playing hockey, so that work ethic and discipline I took into the real estate business. And I think no matter where you're coming from, you have some sort of skill set or trait or background or connections or relationships. In this case here, I mean, it's perfect. You had your 200 clients that already knew, like, and trusted you, and you tapped into that. And I think as a new agent, if you're thinking about getting into the business, it's like, look at what is the key things that you have as we'll say, a key advantage that can really not only differentiate you in the market, but can give you a major head start, like you had when you started, which was it wasn't easy. Don't get me wrong, but I'm curious as to how you took the 200, and how did you transition them, seeing you as a barber, to, oh, now he's selling houses, like, because a lot of times, friends or family, it's like, yeah, after you sell, a year or two, they start to see some success, they'll say, yeah, we'll transition over to you. But how did you make that transition and change that hat?
Yeah, so I was planting seeds while I was getting my license with all of them. They all knew where I was going. So I was just sharing my story with them. Like, this is what I'm going to do, guys. I'm going to be a realtor. I'm going to sell houses. And they're super supportive of that. And then when I got my license, I didn't stop cutting hair right away. I'd be in the office from 8 a.m. until 5, 6. And then I would cut from like 6 to 10. And then I was just planting seeds until I got to the point where I just was on the phone with clients while cutting, and I just couldn't anymore. Then I wasn't even having conversations with them anymore. But I think for everyone that goes to a barber or hairstylist, we all know the trust factor we have with those individuals. We can literally trust them with our lives. So I feel like me having cut a lot of my clients' hair for 6, 7+ years, they just truly invested in me as a human and trusted that I would do right by them. And they loved the idea that I was new and they wanted to support me. And I wasn't scared to let them know that I had help, and they wouldn't be working with me. They were working with, the guys whose team I was on or the mentor I was with. So I was super transparent and said, yeah, I'll take this on, bring this guy on with me because he has 6 years of experience. So you'll have both of us to work with. He'll fill the void or gaps of any, things I may not know right off the bat. So I leveraged that all day just to get the deals and get the leads going.
Mm-hmm. So you joined a team when you first started then.
Yeah, my
Is
first
that,
6 months.
yeah. And how was that experience joining a team? And then, is that something you'd recommend? And what are maybe some key lessons that you took, maybe some good things and some things maybe that you would change?
Yeah, so it was his first time doing a team. We're still super close to this day. Uh, his method was cold calling. So he was 8 years in at the time when I started, and all of his business was centered around cold calls. And so he taught me scripts. He had me calling all his leads. He had me calling neighborhoods. I was on the Mojo dialer, triple line every morning. So I picked up a lot of objection handling skills by just being in his vicinity. Um, I didn't necessarily do much business as a result. However, my own network started to really kick in, and this is why I ended up leaving the team after, because I just got super busy on my own, and I felt confident to go on my own by the end of my first year. So, but it was, yeah, highly recommended. I mean, I learned a lot in regards to negotiating, objection handling with clients, and all those super important uh, learning skills that you need, especially starting off. So I learned that fairly quickly as a result of being on the team.
Hmm. Would you recommend when a new agent starts to join the team when they first start, or is that like what's your take on that? Should they just get in and start on their own, or join a team? Like what would be some we'll say some key insights that you have after joining, and maybe some of the things to look for if they go one way or another?
Yeah, like for me, like I went on my own fairly quickly, and I'm the type where I just like to do stuff and figure it out along the way. And if I was on the team longer, or maybe a bigger team with systems and processes, I feel like I would, if I were to restart, I would do that, and then and you know venture the course with the team, because all the stuff I had to learn on my own, the money I've spent, the mistakes I made, all these things I did on my own, just trying because I wanted to do the solo route, I could have avoided if I had spent more time on a team like yours, as an example, that has the systems, the processes, the blueprint essentially. So it took me a while to really figure it out, a lot of trial and error. I've done exceptionally well as a solo agent, and now I don't really intend on having a team. I just have my two agents with me, and I'm really happy with that. But as a new agent, if I was to start off, definitely, I tell people all the time, join a team or find a mentor who is willing to share, give time, and yeah. So I would definitely join a team.
No, it's good, really good insight. I think there's a lot of questions for new agents. It's like even other agents that are maybe on their own and it's not what they thought, and they're looking at that. I'd say it's like every team has a different culture and different ways of doing it, and so not all teams are created equal. Just like not all brokerages are the same, right? So definitely that's something to look into and see what the right fit is. Uh, so Matt, I was getting my haircut done the other day, and I'm sitting there, and the barber starts talking to me, and Joanna's like, "You got to go check him out. You got to go check him out." So I went and sat. I'm like, "Okay, I'll try him out," because it's like whenever you go to a new barber or somebody to cut your hair, it's always like, "Okay, are you gonna get it right?" Because there's nothing worse than a bad haircut, right? Especially for a real estate agents. Like, you don't look anything like your picture. I know it was a bad haircut. No, um, so. I'm sure you've seen your people coming in for bad haircuts back in the day, and then you got to come in and fix it, right? But I'm sure that you get that. But the point that I'm making here is I'm sitting there and he's telling me a little bit about his background, and this barber, he had at one point he had a staff of like 70, and so he built and scaled it up, and it got to a point where he's like, I'm done with this. He would do a lot of the fashion shows as well. And, he saw kind of that whole world, and he got to a point where it was like, you know what, I just want to cut hair. And he was starting to tell me about the craft of cutting hair and like how creative this guy was, like a wizard when it came down to creativity. He was talking all about, building like actually building costume and creating costumes out of hair. And it was this whole creative side of it, which he's like, I love the creative side. Anyways, the being a barber is not just cutting hair. Like you got to be able to visualize what I learned from that. You got to be able to visualize and be creative, and then be able to execute in order to take it to that next level. And I would imagine you had 200 clients coming to you, and with the hairstyle as well, all your friends. There was something like people were attracted to the way that you're doing, which means that you were a master at that and you're creative. How much do you think that helped you coming into, because of the marketing side and being creative on the marketing side? How much do you think that kind of translated it over? And then maybe we'll segue into the marketing focus that you did coming into real estate, and that skill set.
Yeah, so I wasn't really marketing as a barber. Like I had an Instagram account. It was super dormant. It was called Jerry Cuts. My middle name is Jerry. People call me that was my barber name, Jerry Cuts. And for me, it was all word of mouth. So I'm a very active networker, and like the gym for me is a hub. So and I did the exact same model for real estate. But for example, we'd be in the gym, and all I needed was a couple of my clients in there, and they were all my promoters. So they'd come into the fresh cut, they felt amazing, and then they would see me, and then they'd go to the guy beside us who I didn't know yet, be like, "Yeah, that's my barber." And then the guy would look at me like, "You did that?" I'd be like, "Yeah, like, can I come to you?" I was like, "For sure." So then I ended up getting like the whole gym, and I was going to multiple gyms, so I was getting everyone from the gyms, and then everywhere we would be out in public, I'd always be with a group of my friends whose hair I would cut, and then they would get compliments, and then who cut your hair, Matt. So yeah, that's essentially how I built the business. Was just organic word of mouth, and I did so right by them. Like I gave them such a good experience that they naturally just went and promoted me on their own, and then I was just getting calls like, "Hey, Gianfranco would not stop talking about you. I guess I got to come see you for a haircut. Like this person looked amazing this night. I saw him at a wedding. He gave me your card because I had a bunch of cards. I want to come see you for a haircut." So for me, it was always the organic, old school, active networking approach and referrals. And then that's exactly what translated into real estate for me too.
Okay. All right, great. So the referrals, the networking, I really liked how you brought the buddy along, and I'm thinking, oh, could that actually work as a real estate agent? It's like you go to sell their house, they do an amazing job. It's like let's go to the gym, let's start working out together, and then maybe you pay them a referral. I'm thinking out loud, it's like you pay a referral. Anybody that comes to me from the gym, it's like that through you, and there could be something. I'm trying to connect the dots there. But having advocates for you, I think is something that you did, and you showcased there was proof there. It's like, hey, listen, they did really well. So I think that's very applicable to like the everyday, networking when you go into groups for real estate agents as well to generate business, which is great. So okay, now is there anything else you did as a real estate agent to generate business? Because that's like the biggest thing that as a new agent, it's like, where do I actually go and get business? Is there anything? And then we're going to transition over to the social media, but maybe that's the answer that you have. Or is there anything else before transition into the online advertising and the marketing side of it?
Yeah. So my first 3 years before my social media really took off, I was doing the old school duties. My broker record when I first started, he literally treated me like an employee, which was amazing. I loved it. It's like be in the office 8 a.m. You're on the phone. It's like he would yell at me, which is awesome. If you yeah, like I love that. And so I was doing all the cold calling, like I mentioned, like the Mojo Dialer. I was calling a certain area, and then I was doing drop pop buys after and introduce myself. Handing my card. Hey, I spoke to you on the phone earlier. I never really got serious business like that, but I built up the confidence. So I think for me, it was the and at the same time I'm also self-developing hardcore. Like I was all in on the books, self-developing and just getting my energy up. So what I found was when I had this confidence and I just had this like strong belief in myself, was like, you know what, like no more imposter syndrome. I am this realtor. Like I'm good at what I do. Every time I would meet people, I guess people would I would leave such a good impression where that they would just want to work with me. So I put myself out there a lot. So the gym for me was I called it the portal of success, more specifically the sauna, because the sauna actually allowed me to sit there and have conversations with guys because we're all in this kind of a weird setting, but I did a lot of deals out of the sauna. So for me, it was hitting up the local clubs, which was the gym for me in the morning, and I put myself out there a lot to meet new people, and always with groups of people that I knew or with me. So they would always just one of them would drop, "Hey, Matt's a realtor. He's a really good real estate agent." Like people would just do that. Like I even asked them, like, "Oh, this guy's amazing at real estate." Like, "Oh, thanks," and then open up doors and conversation. So for me, I was definitely a lot of my business came from just referrals, my old school of networking, and just making sure I leave a long lasting impression on people. And then when I got the social media up, that was just an added layer of farming for me.
Got it. Yeah, I love how you. So, bottom line is what I've figured out in this business is, I mean, real estate agents are looking for the silver bullet, and the reality is there's a bunch of little things, but the number one thing in order to get business is you got to have conversations with potential buyers and sellers, and that's just people. And what I really love about your approach is it wasn't like this big, we'll say, event, this hardcore lead generation, although you started there and you built up the muscle and the confidence, which I think is 100% awesome. But you just applied it to every day. You're, going to the gym, you're in the sauna anyways. Like, why not have conversations with people? You're having them anyways. Why not, drip in business as you go along? Then it's like that is very sustainable that you created it as part of a lifestyle versus like this big hard thing that you're doing. Was that intentional, or is that just something that you kind of figured out as you went?
Like for me, I was very optimistic, like almost like delusionally optimistic about everything will work out and I'm just gonna get business. I'm gonna attract it. So like I walked into every room like I'm gonna meet new people today and these are all gonna be my clients. Like I had that just more of like an abundant mindset, law of attraction sort of thinking. And it just ended up happening that way. Like I was, yeah, of course I was making the effort. I wasn't just sitting back at home, be like, I am the best realtor in the world and not doing anything. I was obviously putting myself out there, having conversations, always plugging in. By the way, I'm a real estate agent. If you ever need anything, here's my card. And yeah, and then once the social media really started to kick in, I would always leave with them having my socials. So then after meeting me for the first time, now they follow me, and now they're going to see, because I was very consistent. They're going to just see me everywhere, all the time, always. So that was that farming effect through the online world that I was able to capture everyone. But the first 3 years was old school networking, follow up, making a good impression, and it worked out.
When you met somebody, was it like, okay, let's share our social profiles? Is that, would you do it right then and there,
Yeah,
or would it be like, can you take us through what that, because that's a fairly new concept. It's like a lot of times real estate agents, they have their, it's like, okay, give me your number, give me your email, or do you have a business card, right?
yeah.
Can you take us through that?
Yeah, like, it involves reading the room. So it really depends on who it
Yeah,
is. If it's an older
yeah,
gentleman, I could just tell he's going to be a little more old school. Then I would, let's exchange numbers. I'll shoot him a text
yeah,
after. Pleasure meeting. If you ever need anything,
right.
if there was something in the conversation with him which alluded to maybe him needing real estate services, then I would follow up further. If not, it was just that simple text and add him to if I had his email or whatever. But when it comes to someone younger or maybe someone I could just tell would be a little more like someone who would just be active on socials, they'd be like, and even if they didn't ask, I'll always leave like, by the way, let's connect, and I'll pull up my phone and I'll be like, here, take my Instagram. I'll let them follow me, so they always pull up my account, and then they'd be like, "Oh, look at you! You have a lot of followers." I'm like, yeah, I try, and then they're like, I'll follow you back." I always make them follow me, and and then after that, they just now I'm in their algorithm,
Yeah,
and I'm there to stay. So yeah, I
smart.
always end it off in a way where like, yeah, by the way, like great to meet you. Let's stay connected. Do you have Instagram? And
Yeah.
that's it.
Well, that's powerful. That positions you as an authority right off the bat, and then it's an opportunity to stay top of mind. Because I don't know how many times, Matt, I've been at events, and you get all these cards, like, it's like you have the cards, and you have these intentions to follow up with every single one and keep touch. But the reality is that most of us, you go to them and it doesn't happen. But this creates it so it's happening as a byproduct of the work. So you're already doing the work, you're posting, you're top of mind, and it allows the you had said the algorithm, like, it's you're going to be top of mind now, right? So that's the genius in that.
Yeah, it's like the analogy is it's like a river. So my river is like my social media. It's flowing. I'm always posting. So like the river is always flowing. Every time I meet someone, I strap them with a life jacket and I toss them in the river. So now they just join the river, and then they're all just flowing along the river with my content. They're just always going to be being seeing my face top of mind. So yeah, it worked well.
That's a very, very intelligent way to put it. I love that. to be able to give some context on how that works. So that I love that, and I think that's like encouragement as well for real estate agents to post on a fairly regular basis. It's like if you stop posting, your river stops, and you can't throw life jackets the same way, right? So I love that analogy. All right, so now you have your approach. You're going out. You're networking. You know, sauna, gym. You're connecting with people. Take us through when you first started posting. Was this like an overnight decision, or is this something you started doing kind of slowly, and then like was there a decision where you're like, okay, I'm going to take this to the next level?
Yeah, so I was pre real estate. I was always using Instagram. I guess it's just my age and generation. We were very active on that. And when I started real estate, I had like a whole identity shift because I was like that fitness guy posting like gym pictures and all these things. And I'm like, oh, now I'm in real estate, so let me delete everything. And then I'm now posting me in a suit. Um, but my broker record when I first started, he told me he's like, stop wasting your time on social media. You're never gonna sell a house on social media. And I love it. I love that because it was like a night. I'm like, I'm gonna prove him wrong. Like now you just made this an even bigger mission for me. And yeah, initially like video just started to be a thing. So I didn't have much to show for because I didn't have many listings and things like that. But every time I was in a property, because I was banging out leases, I was always on the stories. Like, guess how much this is, or like apartment for rent downtown Toronto. Look at these views. Like, always posting something that people can engage with, and again, just to stay active. Like, oh, this guy's actually out there. Look at him every day. He's in a condo. Every day he's doing this. So that would just then lead to when I actually got my business. I took full advantage of that. And the moment for me where it really shifted was when I had my first opportunity to do a listing video. And I had no real connection with a video team yet or anything like that. So I just hired someone in my office referred. And when they showed up, I couldn't connect with the videographer. She was super quiet and like shy. I didn't really so I didn't feel like myself. And then when we recorded the video and I watched it back, I was just like every other agent, just welcome to 123 Street, 4 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, $1.2 million. Check it out. And I was like, that's not me. Like that, I felt so weird. It felt cringe. So I'm like, I want to be like, what am I? Why do my friends like me? Like, why did my peers like me? And it's because I can be, weird and witty and like really like funny and just most spontaneous random humor. Like that's just what I'm known for in my friend group. That's why people are friends with me or my barber clients. They just love to come for a laugh. So I was like, how can I bring my humor into real estate? And then I sat with myself, like that was a big issue for me. So I'm like, oh, it's like humor, but in a very serious setting. Like this is someone's biggest asset of their life. Do I want to make a joke out of it? So I was battling that for a bit, and then until one day I said, "Screw it." Um, my next listing opportunity came, and it was actually a custom home. One of the highest price point of the time for me was like 1.3, and they just fired their agent, and they brought me in as a referral. So I'm like, this is probably not the time to test something like this out yet, but let me block the seller on social media. I'm not going to tell them about this video, and I'm still going to make it. So it was me and my colleague Augustus at the time who took on the listing with me, and we made this just super. We kind of played on current real estate videos, but we just made it funny. Like I was just being me in the background doing really stupid things, and the video hit. The video hit, and people were like dying of laughter, and people are commenting saying, "Wow, I actually watched the whole video." And people would then see me at the gym who followed me and like, man, that video was actually hilarious. It was so different. So that was a clue for me. Like, okay, maybe I'm onto something. I had some older guys in my office telling me like, Matt, you shouldn't be doing that. Like, that's like, I would not like that if that was my house, you know? And so again, I just leaned into more of the positive feedback and I kept producing more funny content. And then things just took off for me. So it was that moment in time where I made the decision to like, let's just take the risk, and I went with it.
So that you found yourself, and then you were able to get yourself out there in a way that people could really get to know you in the differentiation, right?
Hmm.
Uh, what advice would you have for real estate agents that they're not sure what their thing is? Um, it's like should I read script? Shouldn't I? It's like, do I want to be the same as every other agent? It's like, I don't know what my differentiation is. Like, what advice would you have for the real estate agents out there that maybe want to grow their social following?
Yeah, like it's easier said than done, but it's easiest piece of advice is just to be yourself. Like if you can, if you want to be different, be yourself because no one is you. No one's Mark Ferris, only Mark's Mark Ferris. No one's Matt Campoli, only Matt is Matt Campoli, right? No one is John Smith, only John Smith is John Smith. So whatever that is for you, and that's why I mentioned like what do my peers enjoy about me the most is it's my humor, it's my dry humor, it's my wittiness, it's how random I can be. So I knew that already. And I tell people all the time, like, what do people at home, whether it's your family or friends behind closed doors, like, what do they love about you? Is it your analytic mind? Is it the fact that you can, whip up, a deal sheet and punch numbers and do it? Like, what is your power? And mine was my humor. So, yeah, I just, I had the confidence enough to not care what people thought, and I just put myself out there as me, and in the form of real estate. So I was always trying to put a cool little twist to every marketing video I did with my own self and humor and my own brain and ideas around the product, which was the house that I was selling. And so people just felt aligned, like connected with that, and they felt the authenticity, and then that induced a lot more trust, and then they would hire me.
Yeah, 100%. That's something that for me, it's always been for the last like 17 years building the business. It's like everything is perfection, perfect, well manicured, dressed. Everything is like to the nines, and that's where it's been like a real shift, and it's actually taken me quite a while to like actually make that, where it's like when you speak, just speak like regular, as like a regular person would. It's like you kind of sound scripty, and so that's something that I've had to work through myself. That you want to be able to get your message through. I still like I love professionalism. I love like when you show up, it's like this is hardcore, full out for you. That's our slogan, right? Passionately engaged. And we sell higher end homes as well, so like there's a certain professionalism there. But at the same time, it's like, how would you speak to a regular person on an ongoing basis? It's just something, to you get the camera in front of you, and then all of a sudden it's like it shifts, right?
Yeah.
So what advice would you have for somebody? It's like, how do you work through? Is it just reps that you found when you're giving advice to people? It's like to be able to just be more of themselves when they're speaking.
Yeah, it's reps. It's reps. Like I said, that first video I made was cringe. When I went and did the videos where I started to be myself again, super nervous. Like you can tell, like I'm actually doing this right now. This is risky, and yeah, just over time, and now it's to the point where whether it's a camera or no, I actually prefer the camera in my face now. So I think it's most people suffer from that. It's normal. It's human nature. It's something to get used to, but it's like practice and reps, and you'll get over that hump.
Mhm. The big debate that I've seen on both sides is if you're doing like a longer video, like 10, 15 minutes, and say you're speaking solo, is that something that, I've heard a number of people's like, make sure you script it all out. And then others like just bullets. And then somebody else is like, no, just speak from the heart. Like, what advice would you have from your experience?
Yeah, I would have some sort of a guideline flow,
Yes.
and then just build off of that. So like you just know, like, here's the talking point. I know exactly what I'm going to say organically. Next talking point. Now I know what to say. Like kind of little triggers. Scripting is tough to memorize. Like people will sense that. People can know if you're reading off a teleprompter or you're going like
Yeah.
line by line because it's like you're trying so hard just to remember each line, or that now it seems forced you know
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
think I've always been a fan of like the organic and just letting it flow, especially when I used to do my podcast and do all the solo episodes. Like I would do like 20-minute solo episodes, and it's just me talking to the camera, and I would just have my notes in front of me and just like key talking points, just to like reference, and then I would just go into it and just like let it all flow organically. So
Yeah. Yeah. That's great advice. So there are a lot of different platforms. What was it about Instagram and for new agents starting out, like what platforms would you say if you're going to pick maybe one or maybe top three, and what would be the uses for them? What advice would you have for the listeners on that?
yeah, I'd say top three would be Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I think TikTok's like the Wild West. So if you want to like try content out, you try it there. You can post as many times a day as you want. You won't get penalized for it. You can post anything. You can literally just like talk in front of the camera and post it. You get. I know I never really did TikTok except for the podcast side, but like on my personal brand, never really ran with TikTok too much. But I know a lot of success stories that come out of TikTok. Now, will the leads be like super high quality? Maybe not as much as Instagram or YouTube. Instagram is like that middle point where Instagram rewards higher quality content. Maybe the pieces of content you tested that worked well on TikTok, now you know they're going to work on Instagram. And I feel that the following and communities on Instagram might be a little bit higher, more qualified. YouTube is like the still like the sleeping giant. Like it's so hard to grow on, but the leads and the quality leads you get on that are really good. So TikTok you can just blow up in one video. Like that's what I mean by Wild West, where you can just like post so many videos and one just hits and you just start flying, and then you get a lot of leads like that. Instagram takes an actual like posting schedule, the strategy behind it. But if you can nail that, that's like the perfect middle ground platform, I would say. And YouTube takes the longest to grow. You need super high quality content, but the leads that come in from there are very high quality.
That's great. What about Facebook? I've heard through number of different people. It's like Facebook is where a lot of homeowners are, like more of the seniors and the older generation. Is that something that is there still a place for Facebook? Is that something that would you recommend agents focus on that? Is there more homeowners there that potentially going to sell, or what's your take on Facebook?
Yeah, I think for Facebook, like it's Meta owned, same with Instagram. So when you post on Instagram, you have an option to also post on Facebook. So I would have that option on all the time. So when you're posting on Instagram, it just gets done for you on Facebook. But if you want to add another layer on Facebook, you can join neighborhood groups where these groups are full of people who are from a specific neighborhood, and you can just chime in and be like, hey guys, I'm a local agent, I specialize in this area, if you ever need anything, let me know. And then you can get engagement like that. I've actually never really utilized Facebook for real estate leads. I've just did it the route where I have the setting turned on and is automatically posted to both platforms.
Yeah, yeah, makes sense. That was a good acquisition there. That now you get the two for one, right? When you
Exactly.
post. So okay, now how about with frequency, and then how do you on earth do you keep it steady? I think that's one thing with a lot of agents out there. They'll post one or two, but the frequency and then the ability to do it long term, so that you actually can see real tangible results. What advice would you have for the listeners out there on that?
Yeah, so consistency is key for sure. In terms of being able to be consistent, like you should content batch. So get yourself on a schedule where maybe it's 1 day a week you're filming, or once every 2 weeks, bringing in multiple changes of clothing and recording a bunch of different pieces of content per day. So for me, like my minimum was like 4 to 5 reels. I do like the skit format, so just like 4 to 5 funny, skits with my videographer, different outfits. And I'd say you should aim for at least 4 to 5 times a week when you're posting. You could do everything on your iPhone too. Like I feel the Instagram algorithm rewards iPhone quality content or versus like super high quality, camera content produced production. So you can Instagram is all about like getting people to want to follow you, and you do that through storytelling. They want to know about you, they want to know more, right? And so yeah, there's a lot you can just do with your phone. Literally all it takes is you just getting on camera with a tripod daily, or documenting the day of yourself in the listing and what happened that day. It's like, this is what happened to me in at my listing today, and then tell a story behind that. It's cool, like the behind the scenes and stuff. But you want to get people to know you as a human through the real estate space.
Yeah. No, it's really, really great insight, Matt. I interviewed Faisal over in outside, so the GTA outside of Toronto and the Guelph area, and he, well, Kitchener. He's actually Kitchener Waterloo area, and he's like, Mark, like how I communicate with my clients is actually it's through social. And so one of the things that became clear is that when people are thinking about buying or selling, if you're not top of mind, then they're probably not going to reach out to you. And so you become the convenient option because they're on there anyways on a day-to-day basis. And if you're top of mind there, then like that's a great communication tool. So it's like, if anything, if a real estate agent wants to say grow their business, the social, if anything, is, I'd say it has the upside of generating new business, but to be top of mind of people that you've already served, your friends and family members and your past clients, to be top of mind. I can't think of a better tool than that to be able to do that on an ongoing basis than, social, because you become the convenient option and you're top of mind with them on an ongoing basis. Does that resonate? Is that what you've seen?
Yeah, it's like farming an area traditionally,
Mm.
but digitally.
Right.
So you're
Yeah.
farming your
Yeah.
database,
Yeah.
and instead of like you're a pro at it, you have your billboards, and you're just people just see Mark everywhere they go in Simcoe. And for me, it's like they're always seeing me on their socials. So whether they're before work, right, as they're having their breakfast, I'm there, or a video from yesterday pops up. When they get home, my new video of the day is there. So I'm always just hitting them like that. And there's the social media sales funnel. So it's the awareness. So people now, they see a video of you on like the Explore, and then that's it. And then a couple days later, they see another video of you on the Explorer. Now they take interest, and now they want to click you. Now they go on your profile. They see all these other cool videos, and then it builds up an interest. Then they want to follow you. So now they hit click follow. Now you have them, and now you're still consistent. Every single day you're farming, and then it leads to them wanting to start engaging with you. So whether that's them liking your photos, commenting, or sending you a DM. It could be a simple DM of like, "Hey, love your videos," and that now is an opportunity to start conversation with this new lead. And then the last part of the funnel is the trust. So now they've been following you for a couple of weeks. They love your videos. They're laughing. They're commenting. They're DMing you. Now they trust you. And then when the time comes for real estate, hopefully you are that guy for them.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I love how you explain that funnel there and the steps that a potential lead goes through. Super powerful. Are there any other tips before we transition off this, Matt? Are there any other tips or piece of advice that you would give the listeners out there when it comes down to growing your social channel?
Yeah, I mean, like the biggest piece of advice is to not care what people think. Whether it's family, it could be your closest friends making fun of you. Like I always look at that as those are good signs. Like when you start getting any sort of negative, like, what are you doing? Like, what are these videos you're making? Like, why are you showcasing your life to everyone? Just keep going. Like those are key indicators. So like you're on the right track. I always looked at like wherever the most resistance was, is like, I'm going to go harder in that direction. And I got a lot of that in the beginning. And yeah, so removing the fear of people's thoughts about you is like the biggest thing, because once you can open up that lane, you just fly. And with that flight comes the results. So
Great advice. Great advice from a real pro in it. All right, Matt. So next, I want to talk just a quick question on investing. So investors are coming to you now. It's in a market that is, we'll just say it's tougher to find good deals. What advice are you giving the investors that are coming to you and saying, "Hey, listen, I want to invest in real estate. I know that 90% of millionaires became that way by investing into real estate and owning real estate of some sort." What advice are you giving now, and what are you seeing on the investing side of things?
yeah, so you're getting the classic. A lot of people are just trying to get good deals. So it's good to remind them that the current price points are good deals right now. They have the opportunity to buy in a downturn where they're not competing. It's a buyer's market. They have all kinds of options and inventory depending on area. And I try and tell them like go take full advantage of that because we don't know how long this is going to last, but eventually things will get better. And real estate's always it's a long term play. So just across the board is just a good time to just take advantage of right now. I do have my clients that are like, yeah, I hear you, but I still want to lowball this amount. It's okay. We can try. You never know what position people are in and what they'll take, but more or less everything is discounted now. So everything is, as long as it makes sense for them, it's a pretty good deal. And that's not residential. That's just single family.
Yeah, no, and that makes a lot of sense. It's interesting, Matt, that at the peak of the market, like everybody thought real estate was like the best thing since sliced bread, right? To invest. You just bought a house. Yeah, it's great. Wow, it's a great investment, and everybody's excited and celebrating. And it's like now they're like, you want to buy, investment properties? Like, I think I'm going to wait. It's like the market just came down like 25, 30%. Like we're we're at this, like everything's for sale right now. So I think that's where, if as a real estate agent, I think being the guide and then getting them excited. That's why I like what you had said earlier, but like you had enthusiasm and you had that excitement you were working on. I think that is so important, especially in today's market. At the time of recording, we're like mid 2025, and there's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of fear out there in the market, and real estate overall, it needs encouragement to be able to help people take action and actually jump in. Because I think looking back, I think the condo market's going to take a few years to get back, but I think the single family space is at a discount, and I think 3 to 5 years down the road, we're going to be looking back and telling like, oh man, I should have done it, right? And it's like I'm like waiting to find, I'm like, hey guys, like if you're waiting any longer, like it's already come down, like this is the time, and here are all the data points. We haven't built enough single family homes, and there's a lot coming down the pipe, and a lot of good things. And so I think that encouragement there, I just want to get that out there for the listeners, the agents out there. It's like people need to have that encouragement and that excitement, and to actually help buyers get across the finish line, because not everything, but most of the news out there is very negative, and there's a lot of uncertainty and fear. So yeah, I'm total in agreement with what you said, that it's like it's a discount right now.
Yeah, for sure. And I agree with what you said. I think having that excitement with your clients come to you, be like, guys, it's amazing time. It's amazing time. Like if you come off like that instead of the, I don't know, then I
Yeah,
think how you're communicating is super important. So I
yeah.
like what you said too.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. It's like, I'm not really sure this is a really good time. It's like, okay, you keep on renting, you wait a couple of years, you're gonna be looking back and wishing you would have bought at this point. So,
Exactly.
and I think the data points, what helps is like show the peak and show what the prices has come down, and look at and history, that real estate over time is like a yo-yo going up an escalator, right? You're eventually it's going to go up, and it's come down quite a bit right now. And there's a
Hmm.
strong case based on supply and demand, that there hasn't been enough building actually happening. Like if you talk to a lot of the developers now, a lot of them are just like, we're not buying anything right now. It's like, well, what happens if you get it at a really good price of land? It's like, listen, development costs are like 90% of the equation, and it's just there's a lot of uncertainty, and so they're waiting it out. So there's going to be a time where we're basically down the road, we're going to come back around, and then there's going to be another crunch, based on what I'm seeing. But I guess time will tell with that, Matt. So
Exactly.
all right, so let's wrap up here with a rapid fire, and then we're gonna close it off. You ready?
Sounds good. Ready.
All right. So I'm a big reader. Love to read. I'm curious, what is your favorite book that's made the biggest impact in
Hmm.
your career?
Think and Go Rich multiple
Perfect.
times. Yeah, big standout for me for sure.
What's the biggest takeaway that that really stands out when you think of that book? Is there something that stands out in that book?
So I've been studying a lot of ancient wisdom and just laws, universal laws, all the way back to BC. And I feel like, especially this book being written in the 30s, uh, this is timeless key success information that just works in the world with that we have a power to control. So just the for me it was the at the time I read it, I was just getting to learn about the subconscious. So the power of the subconscious mind for me was the biggest takeaway. And yeah, so I've just been a big learner and student on the subconscious and all the universal laws. But that was the book that kind of really opened the door for me.
That's good. Yeah, what's interesting to know is like regardless if you're intentional about what you're thinking about and what you're talking about, you're thinking and talking about something. And most of the times it's like 90% if you're not intentional about it, it's like negative, and that negative feeds in and you get results from that. And so if you flip it from your thinking and it changes how you feel, and then it's an interesting thing to try as well. I've tested this out a number of times. It's like when you first wake up, and if you can get really clear and think about things that you're really thankful for, and you feel those feelings of like, yeah, I'm really thankful for Joanna and the boys. We're like the team that we have, like the people. It's like you start to it's like the rest of the day. If you can get that first 15 minutes, like I'll do a prayer as well, and I'll get really clear. And then all of a sudden, like the rest of the day, it's just I'm feeling better. And then when you wake up and it's like first thing you roll out of bed and you're kind of like, oh, I'm not really, don't know. And then all of a sudden something negative, and then you start thinking about that. All of a sudden you're starting to feel. And so if you can wake up and get kind of clear what the big goal, and that's where the goal card comes in that book, right? And then the gratitude and thank that first 15 minutes I found was the key. And then when you go to bed as well, that was the other kind of, yeah. No,
Put an alarm for that reason. I like to wake up with just pure peace, and I do the exact same thing as you do, where I write out my like things I'm grateful for, and in the form of like meditation, visualization. But I also get like that really warm, fuzzy feeling in my body, and then it just sets the tone. I
yeah,
fully know I know exactly what you're talking about.
awesome.
Bang on. Yeah.
All right. Next here. Thanks for sharing that, Matt. That was great. What are so three words that people know you best? How would they describe you as? I think funny is going to be one. I'm going to call that out. Is funny one?
Yeah. I'd say funny, interesting, dedicated.
Got it. Yeah, I'm going to add. I think likable is something you said it earlier. The ability to be likable, I think, is something that not everybody has, and I think that that's something that I noticed when I first met you. There's a likability there about you. So, okay, last question I have is so final advice you have, Matt, for the listeners about anything. Maybe they're an agent that is looking to just get started, or maybe they're in the business and they want to take their business to the next level. What advice would you have for them?
Yeah, so I think like just across the board, generally in any field, one thing I've had to learn through the ups and the downs is you just need to 100% bet on yourself and have the utmost confidence and you know clear desire within you to just want to succeed. Like as soon as you can make that agreement with yourself and just fully bet on yourself and just go all in, there's nothing else that can affect you, whether it's what people say about you, whether it's family, whether it's friends, whether it's anything that might be holding you back. If you have that full faith in you that you can achieve anything, regardless what gets thrown at you, you can overcome that with that faith and belief in yourself. So I feel like, you know, the sooner you can fully commit and bet on yourself and have a clear vision, desire of what you want, the faster yourself plus everything else in support will help you get there.
Amazing. Matt, this is a great conversation. Really appreciate your openness to it. I know there's a lot of value for the listeners. If they want to reach out, maybe they want to refer some business to you, or maybe potentially, reach out to you and work with you. What's the best way they can reach out?
Yeah, so we're gonna go the Instagram route. You can add me on Instagram. It's at Matt Campoli, so MattCampoli. Shoot me a DM, shoot me a follow, and we can chat there.
Amazing. Matt, really appreciate you coming on. Thanks again.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. You're great. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thanks for listening to the show, guys. If you're looking to learn more about how to invest into real estate, into multifamily real estate, go to fulloutinvesting.com. There's a sample deal there. And there's also our 10-step full out investing process as well. And if you like the show, you can go ahead and share it with any of your friends out there that want to learn more about how to build their social channel. I love you guys and keep on going full out.